We're live, sir. So, good evening.
Hi, Kevin.
Nice to see you. I hope you had a good
Nice to see
weekend.
you.
I know you've got family around, so lucky you. Unfortunately, I don't have my family around, so I don't have the
Yeah.
kids around. I wish I did.
It's great.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm enjoying every minute of this.
Okay. All right. So we had a great session last time, or seemed to be. I mean, certainly from my perspective, it was great. It seemed to have a really good take up afterward. Lots of views. There were, I think, over a couple thousand views in a couple weeks' time, and a number of questions roll out of it. So hadn't planned on doing a part 2 per se, but you kindly said, yeah, let's do it, because let's see if we can answer some of these questions.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
This is to put the Hong Kong family point of view across, Kevin. So this is a unique Hong Kong family. There's the mainland Chinese Yang family, which I know nothing about. This is a Hong Kong branch through the daughters via Yeung Sau Chung. So this is a good way of putting across this method to people.
Fabulous. I'm just going to make sure I've got the volume here turned up a little bit more so I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, so let's see here. I might give you a little ramble here, a little wind up just to make sure there's right context. But first one I think is pretty straightforward. How did the Yeung family? This is just taken in order, no particular order here. Yeah. How did the Yeung family develop internal power?
All we know is what we were taught. As you know, there is softening exercise, which brings everything down into the navel, to the foot. Powers in the foot. And then there's other exercises. Now, for the first couple of years of my training, Qi wasn't mentioned at all, because Qi is to do with your mind and your view of the world. So she didn't know me enough to teach the Qigong. So when the Qigong eventually came out, as you know yourself, it's very, very comprehensive. All I can say is you do the softening first, then you do the form, and then the Qigong starts from there. This is the Yang family method. The power can only come through the Qigong, and that has to be converted into Geng. And there's exercises for that.
Can you explain what Geng is to people who don't know what that
Geng is? If you imagine metal is Qi, Geng is gold.
Great.
And as I understand it, if I haven't made a mistake, you need lots and lots of Qi to convert into a little bit of Geng. Like an internal combustion engine. You've got to put fuel in it, and then it converts it internally. Then the car can run. So you need certain things for the Geng to appear. And I'm not sure about Geng myself. Whether I think I've experienced it. All I can say is I feel very relaxed and very strong. And if that's Geng, so therefore it's Geng to me. So I'm not really sure. It's just you have to train in a certain format. It's a process. It's called the process, capital T.
And a Geng would be the Cantonese, right?
Geng, yeah. I believe it's Jing in Mandarin, but
that's what you hear. You read a lot of these websites, and a lot of people talk about Jing this, Jing that, and
that's what we started the interview. I mentioned Hong Kong family. So a lot of this stuff is in the Cantonese dialect. Although Mr. Yang was Mandarin, he lived in Hong Kong most of his life, I suppose. So the Geng is this elusive energy, which if you don't believe in it, you're never going to have it anyway. So it's not an issue. If you don't believe in Qi, you're not going to have Geng. Simple as that. But the only way you can create it is by two people contacting.
Okay.
And then the pushing, what you call pushing hands, taisho, converts into dynamic pushing. And that's, I think, where the Yang family, certainly the Hong Kong branch, through, I met Chu Ging Hung, the third disciple, don't forget, Chu Jin Soon, the second disciple, Mr. Yip, the first disciple. I trained all those three. They have power. Okay, they have power. So if it's called Geng, therefore it's Geng. But it seems to be that you relax, you line the body up, your mind is clear, the breathing's down, and you follow the format, and again, but it won't happen until you actually contact another physical human being.
Right. So you just mentioned Taiso.
Yeah, pushing hands. Everyone knows the
And
pushing
yes,
hands business.
so
Yeah.
so this is the
Let's
next
put that to
question.
you. Yeah.
The next question in order is, what is
Oh.
dynamic pushing hands, and why is it unique to Yeung Sau Chung lineage?
We don't know if it's unique to Yeung Sau Chung. We don't know that. All I know is that we're in the Yeung Sau Chung method, so that we do it. That's our program. So Chu Jin Soon, my uncle, was Yeung Sau Chung, and he was very good at pushing. And he taught his main disciple, John Conroy, who taught me a whole lot. He taught me a lot about the pushing, which I hadn't understood fully before. Because John Conroy, you must understand, he's done literally thousands of hours of pushing with his teacher and with his students. And he's probably the most experienced non-Chinese on the planet at this. Luckily, he's my elder brother, so he's been very good to me. He knows through Jin Soon many techniques and many methods of pushing, but it has to be hands-on.
Right. And dynamic. We didn't use that word dynamic, but do you understand why would someone want to call it dynamic pushing hands versus?
Maybe someone's coined it in the middle of a class. I have no idea.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. How did
we call it in the Yang family in Hong Kong? We give it a name as Fan Dan. Not Toy So is pushing. Okay. Fan Dan is dynamic. The pushing is, but it's not. That doesn't translate as dynamic. It means like a reflective method. Right.
Got it. Okay. How did Yeung Chung? How did misspelled here? Yeung Ching Po. How did Yeung Ching Po die?
He died in 1936. The rest of it's private.
Okay. I was interested to see how you're going to answer that. How can people learn more if they are interested?
They can go to any Tai Chi school, but we only do the Yang family from Hong Kong. So that's all I can say.
So how can they get to us?
Well, they just contact us somehow, website or somehow. If you need to, you'll find it. People.
It's a bit like your story with meeting Mary first, right?
Yeah.
You were determined.
Yeah. I knew there was something else. I knew the bloodline existed, and I just didn't know how or what it was. So the circumstances happened, and I grabbed it. I wasn't going to miss this opportunity.
I guess most of us have gone to great lengths. You certainly to the greatest length, but any of us who really wanted to study this have traveled. When I've come to see you, you travel a couple hours each way, and it's just you do that because you want it. You want to understand.
I traveled 6,000 miles.
There you go.
Right. I know I traveled.
Yeah. What question here, which may seem a little bit, well, you answer it how you like. What does Jim think about Chi in Tai Chi? Okay.
So the question was, what does Jim think about Chi? So I'll answer what Jim thinks about. I'm not speaking for the Yang family. I'm speaking about Jim. As I understand it, when I started to learn the idea of Chi, it was not what I expected. It is the official statement from the boss is a feeling of well-being, which I find very interesting. If you have a feeling of well-being, what you call that is termed in Chinese as qi. But you might want to call it something different in your world because of your culture or your upbringing. Who knows? So you're free to call it what you want. But I have experienced this feeling of well-being. So I believe I know what my teacher wants me to feel: a feeling of well-being. And you're suddenly surrounded by this fantastic feeling of relaxation, very focused and you feel very strong and connected. That's Jim, not speaking for the Yang family there.
Perfect. Do you feel when you're doing your, I guess you've basically said this, but the other question, do you feel chi when you're doing your form, and what does it feel like? So I think you kind of answered that.
Yeah, I don't feel it all the time. I can't say that every move, every form, I can feel this well-being. Can't feel it. When it comes, it's usually when I'm not looking for it. And it's like, it's like riding the metaphor is riding, surfing. You have to wait for the wave. You have to get your board. You've got to time it right. But that's your surfing. So that's the feeling of chi in the Yang family.
Got it. Okay. What improvements to your health have you noticed since doing Mary's style compared to the other styles that you've practiced?
Well, it's a
Or would you say it's...
Always
Sorry?
feel good, always feel happy, but take too much on. Not enough rest. Because you always feel good, always feel happy, healthy, strong. So you always do too much. I've always been told to relax more, have a day off occasionally. But because you feel so damn good, you don't stop. I had to learn how to not train. I had to learn this, how to not train without guilt. This is very important for your chi development, to not train without guilt.
It's interesting because I know one or two of my students have this challenge.
Yeah.
Trying to don't need to do so many hours every day.
Yeah. It's a good thing to get to where you have to stop and talk yourself into not training one day. Just don't train one day. Very good for the chi, because the chi, don't forget, is connected to the mind. So if the mind's affected, the body's affected, the chi's affected, is a knock-on effect. So to learn to not train without guilt was magnificent. Really interesting. Never heard this before. All you hear about is don't miss train. Of course, you have to train.
Right.
But you've got to recognize when to not train and don't be guilty.
Right. I guess when you get to an early part of your training, you kind of sometimes have to force yourself, okay, every day, maybe you didn't feel like it, so you do it. But then once the boat gets across the river, then you leave the boat behind. That's maybe that's not the right analogy, but at some point when you get to...
It's okay, just relax. Just relax and don't train. I'll do something every day, don't get me wrong. I don't do anything. I never do anything. I never do nothing every day. I always do something. There's so many things in the Hong Kong Yang family arsenal and the method. There's always something. It doesn't always have to be 1 full hour, 2 full hours. It doesn't have to be like that.
Right.
Quiet day, very quiet day. And those days we're encouraged to just do a little bit of light stretching, physical stretching, no chi, just physical light stretching. That'll be your day off.
Right.
Of course, we're told which ones to do, of course, because they're individual according to your body.
Right.
So we have to be told by the boss which ones are suitable, and then you have to barter which ones you feel, and then you get to a system where you know what you're going to do on your day off.
You know yourself.
Day off.
You know yourself.
Yourself. Yeah.
Let's see here. What privilege is in this? I believe in this person. I believe in Yeung style. They may get the health benefits from strengthening the tendons and leg muscles. How does Jim compare Mary's style of Tai Chi compared to Jin Soon's style? So there's really kind of two questions there, I think.
Yeah. I didn't do the form with Chu Jin Soon. I only went there to learn spear, fast form, 2-man form, and the pushing. So I couldn't really afford the time and the money to learn the form again, having done Chu Ki Hong's form, which I quite enjoyed. So I didn't see the need to do the form again. He was happy with that because it's a family thing. So when I went to Chu Jin Soon, I was allowed to not do the form, to learn the form per se. So I did those other things which I wanted, which I didn't have before. And when I got to Yeung Ma Lee, the first thing was a dabe kwa, the top of the thigh muscle. If the top of the thigh muscle isn't loaded, then it could go to the knee or lower back. So the top of the thigh muscle, as you know in your training, we've done it, is very important to load the weight, to load. It's a weight-bearing muscle. Yes. Dabe kwa. And of course, the kwa has many, many things. If it's not prefixed the kwa, it's not training. You have to prefix the kwa. Sung yu kwa, dabe kwa. You understand? Reading books about the kwa.
Right.
There's no prefix. If there's no prefix, it's not from the Hong Kong family.
Interesting. Does Mary currently have a lineage holder to the system?
For a start, she's not married to me. She's Si-fu, Yeung, and the lineage holders never discussed. You just train. You go to learn and train. There's no such thing as. She also doesn't like the term generation. She's not allowed to use that term. Generation. She doesn't like it. I don't know why. I don't ask. When she says don't like the word 5, 6 generation, so that's it. I never speak of it again. No point to upset the teacher. That means you get a good class. So lineage holder, I don't know where would that apply, because as you know, when you go to the house where we train with her, you train. There's no labels attached to it. You train. You learn and train. Can you see? So to that answer that question, it's not in our syllabus, this concept of lineage holder.
Right.
Her father taught her. She teaches me. That's the lineage.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a very simple family, very practical and profound.
Yeah, you said the other time you used the word direct, simple, straightforward. There's no right.
Yeah.
Let's see. And indeed, let's see here if I have the right context. And indeed, the propagation of that mystique.
What mystique?
Oh, I see. Sorry. Let me start over again here.
Yeah.
I'll read a little more of the sentences. The thing that struck me most was the almost mystical regard that Mr. Uglow holds for his teacher. And indeed, the propagation of that mystique with comments like, I can't talk about it. I have no doubt that the lady, Si-fu, has a masterful skill, but why is it so secret?
Okay, so it's not secret. What it is you learn what you're able to absorb. Because in the past, people have injured themselves. Imagine if you overbreathe, you can damage the little muscle, diaphragm, you can damage it. So you must be careful. You could put pressure on the kidneys, pressure on the heart, pressure on the intestines and in the digestive system. So they err on the side of caution. If people see that as private or something or secret, then that's what it is. But it's only what you're able to absorb. It's like driving a little car on the motorway. All the nuts and bolts can fall if you drive too quick.
Yes.
So it's nothing to do with secrecy, nothing to do with mystical. It's when you're ready.
There was, and you don't have to make any comment here. I know you're sensitive about these sort of things, not saying certain things publicly, but I'll just say there's a lot traveling around the net right now. This guy, Wim Hof, they call him the Iceman, who's able to withstand, really low temperatures, climb Mount Everest with bare feet and shorts and things like that, not much clothes. Yeah. And he has his whole training method and schools of around kind of tumo or pranayama. This is like really rapid breathing for long periods of time. Mm. And, all dues to him. He may be amazing, he may be incredible, but I'm not worried, but I'm thinking a lot of people are going to try doing the system and they're going to end up hurting themselves.
Okay, let's hope they're intelligent enough to stop before they get injured. If you use intuition, you know what's good and what's bad for you. If you're an adult, Children have to be protected in any sport, any exercise whatsoever. We're not sport, but any exercise. Children have to be protected. You've got to consider puberty. If it's before puberty, some things you mustn't do with the bones. So this is all written in the books, all written. The intuition should take. They say if you're doing something that doesn't make you happy, you should stop. So people can do whatever they want. They're free will. Free will is part of the Qigong, don't forget, in our family, free will. So there must be free will. If not free will, then you're not happy. That affects the liver, which affects the whole of the system. So you must make the liver happy every day. And the guy, whoever you mentioned, I don't know who he is, if he's happy, great. If people want to follow him and feel healthy, great. I have to stay in London and pay my bills. I can't. No way I can afford to go for 2 weeks to Everest to see if my feet get colder. I can't. Great, if you can do that, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not able to leave my little world because
Yes.
of I've got to pay the rent for the school. I've got to pay that. I've got bills, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't not be here.
Yes. Yeah.
So I wouldn't know
Well,
about Everest and stuff. It's great,
yeah.
holiday, but then
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I
That's
know.
all right.
My answer would be intuition. If you don't feel right, then don't do something.
Yeah. That's the best. I digress there a little bit, but I've been seeing
That's
a lot of
fine.
stuff
Good.
recently,
Yeah, I don't
and
travel much on the net, so I don't know too
it,
much. But it's fine. If everyone's happy, do what you want.
yeah. The other thing that was behind the question, the last question I asked, was just this measure of respect that you give Sifu,
Yeah.
and
Because the knowledge she's given me is fabulous. I feel happy, healthy, strong. So there has to be they have to be respectful. Otherwise, she needn't give it to me, would she? She has no reason to give it to me anything. She could teach me a new form that I'd never seen before, or variations on the form I knew. I wouldn't know any different. But she chose to teach me what I consider quite in depth. So I have to show respect for that. And it's for me, it's natural, no problem.
fair dues. Fair dues. So here's another one. I think maybe the last one from this chap, but forgive me for a quick thought. Don't you find it odd that the fighting tradition is the Chen line, the Yang or Yeung line was developed to be easier to assimilate, so that any secrets should be guarded more closely by the Chen family. Any secret should be guarded. So it's back to the secrets. And the Yang should be more open because it's not about fight. So I think you answered that question. I think also maybe you want to disabuse the notion of the fighting tradition was only in the Chen line. Maybe you want to talk about just the Yeung family and fighting tradition.
Yeung family. Mr. Yang was fighting. Took his first challenge at the age of 14 in China, and he lived to be in his 70s, so he didn't lose. You know, I mean, maybe someone had a little fight with him. It wasn't no witnesses. He said he won or draw. It's always going to happen in fighting. If you live to an old life and you're a fighter, that's good. So the Chens, I have no idea, not a clue about the Chens. People should enjoy it. If they do the Chen style, you enjoy it. I enjoy what I do greatly. My mind is clear. My path is clear. My progress is slowed down to me, nobody else. But I know where I'm going. The others, I have no idea. I'm too busy involving myself with this family to look out.
Is there fabulous? So last question. Kind of coming back to the first couple of questions. You talked about the order of things: softening exercises, the form, qigong. Is there a sort of a syllabus in training? If someone came to you to learn,
that was the syllabus. That was it.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I wasn't ready for is the amount of different qigongs that the body requires to advance. You have to get your health sorted out. There's qigongs for all types of. You know a lot of them. There's a lot of qigongs. It's not just one or two or three.
Yes.
It's the whole process. But you have to have the body soft and relaxed. The mind happy, the breathing nice, very nice, comfortable breathing. And then there's one set of breathing for qigong, one set of breathing for softening, one set of breathing for fighting. So we learn all this. Ultimately, it's down to you what you do with it. All I can say is I now collect my pension. I'm 66. I feel great. So whatever I'm doing, I'm happy with. I've got no.
And you look marvelous. You look marvelous.
Oh, thank
absolutely.
You, sir. Thank you. I'll pay you later.
I didn't say that before.
Outside, I don't care. I don't care what I look like on the outside. It's what the inside. I feel great inside. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
The outside, not interested. Right? Yeah. Inside, I feel great. That's part of achieving. Yeah. So the syllabus, you have to have a process. First, you must talk to the body must be in a good state. a good condition, the body. That means the blood can flow nicely. So you don't have too much. You have the arteries open, so it takes the blood away from the heart to cool you down. Or does it go back up through the vein and make the heart enlarge? They had this, remember, Kung Fu history is very old. They had people, we're talking thousands, well, not thousands, but a couple of thousand years ago, enlarged hearts, damaged spleen due to training. They didn't know. They were just, it's so old, but all this is recorded and we slowly developed into the fighting art. And the fighting was obviously necessary because no police force when it was devised. Now we're in a state where we have lawyers and stuff, whatever good or bad they are, but we have a different society. So now we can train for fun. For me, the fun is health, happy, meeting nice people, doing two-man exercises to feel that buzz you get from the dynamics, what people have called dynamic training. That's it for me. Lovely.
Last question, are you taking new students? If somebody wanted to, get in touch with you, are you taking students? Not
at the moment because we're on lockdown, aren't we? So everything's on hold at the moment. So we all have to go inside and do our own training inside. And
right.
So at the moment we're not open.
So, but let's say we're back out in the summertime. Let's hope, right?
Yeah. For example,
For example, they can find you have a website, they can find you online and all that if people want to get in touch.
I don't look at it. I believe, yes, I think someone bought me at taichi.co.uk is my website, I believe. I don't look at it. I don't know if anyone runs it. I have no idea. Not really interested. Okay. My phone number may be on there. I'm not sure. No, the address of the school's on there. I don't look at it. It could be people running around doing, I don't know what's on it. Anyway, taichi.co.uk. I'll check it in a minute and see if it's still on.
Or if somebody, let's say through Facebook or something, if someone sent me a message, say I'd like to talk to Jim or I'd like to have time. Yeah. Would you?
Facebook's okay. WhatsApp, Facebook, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, sir. Thank you very much for your time and your
being patient with the setup, Kevin, because all this trickery is difficult for me. All this Zoom stuff, all these numbers, it's very difficult. So thanks for being patient and helping me.
No, not at all. Modern days, modern times, isn't it?
I'm not there yet.
You've come a long way, though, baby.
I'm in Pung. That's me. The rest of it is hard.
Well, have a wonderful evening. Thanks again for your time. I'm sure again people will enjoy listening to your comments.
People get in touch with you and we can have some questions and answers. It's okay. All I can say is in conclusion is we train what we've been taught and we're just damned happy and healthy. Woo! It's simple as that. Yeah.
On that note, thanks so much. All the best. Cheers.
Take care.